Hello, welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you some secrets, some techniques, some principles that will help you to learn fast, thereby helping you to have a better score in your JAMB exam this year. I have applied these principles, they've worked for me. I have shared them with some students, some of my students, both those I'm coaching at the university where I'm currently, and some others that are in even other universities. Now, I understand that some persons have decent grasping ability. That is to say, some students understand faster than some. But the idea that some persons are dull or they will not be able to cope up is something that I don't agree with. So if you feel you are an average student, I want to assure you, with the right information and understanding, you will also be able to hit high score. I have seen this and it's still happening. So some will just settle for a normal score that let me shall pass, let me shall. No. You can't afford that. This exams is a very serious exams. It has many things that it can determine concerning your life and your future. So you dare not play with it. You dare not play with it. So if you feel you are an average student, or even if you are a good student, if you can apply these principles I'm about to share with you, I assure you, you will see the results and you will come back and tell me, sir, I have applied those principles you've shared with us and they have worked for me. So, because there are many, I will not be able to share all today. I'm going to share a few, let's say 4 in this video. I don't want it to be long. And in the next one, I would share the remaining. Hopefully tomorrow, I'm going to make another video where I will share the remaining, because the goal is to make you know what should work or what works, apply it, get your score, and that's it. And the good thing about it is that once you master it now, you are able to apply it and come up with results. You will be able to apply it even when you get to the university. Alright, so what's the first technique? The first technique is called Feynman's technique. Feynman, F-E-Y-M-A-N. Feynman's technique. What's this technique about? This technique is about internalizing what you are learning or what you have mastered. And how does it work? It works on, after you have studied your material, during your active recall, trying to remember what you have learned, you try to explain it in a simple language as unto a 12 years old child. If I say explain generation of electricity or generation of hydroelectric power, that's generation of electricity through water, to 12-year-old child, you are not going to explain the same way you explain to a university student. Of course, yes. So for you to be able to explain a concept in a very simple and a language that a very young child can understand shows that you have mastered it. So what does this famous technique helps to achieve? It helps you to recall what you have learned, and secondly, it helps you to understand the knowledge gaps and address them. You can easily pinpoint the knowledge gaps. Anything you cannot explain, it means that you have not yet mastered it. So it will enable you to identify that, oh, okay, let me explain to a young child. Oh, when we're talking about hydroelectric power generation, we're talking about using water to generate electricity. There are some systems, there are some metals they bring together, and as the water is falling, the water will be rotating the turbines. The turbines look like drum, they have hole. If you come at any point and you cannot explain it in your own words, it means you have not mastered that place yet. So go back, try and identify, the knowledge gaps. This is what Feynman's principle helps you to do. It helps you to identify the knowledge gaps, pinpoint them, and it also helps you to recall by trying to explain as unto a very, very young child. This principle has worked, is working, and research showed that students that apply these principles perform up to 30% greater than those that doesn't apply this principle. Do you see how massive it is? So it means if you can leverage this principle, adopt and apply it very well, it will be of help to you. So if you have learned Coulomb's law, for example, if you are a student of physics, and the law says the force of attraction between two charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square distance, and are able to explain it to a layman, to their understanding. Yes, you are getting it. And I tell you, you will hardly forget this. It sticks to your memory and you can't forget it. You can't forget it. So don't forget Feynman's technique. Very important. It helps a lot. The whole concept is for you to be able to actively recall what you have learned and also identify what you have not mastered yet so that you can go back and study it again. All right, let me move to the second principle. So the second principle is called 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule. What's the first one? Feynman's principle. So this second one is referred to as 80-20 rule. I will show you how this principle helped me a lot because I am a fan of it. I use it a lot in my studies and it has been of help to me greatly. So I'm going to show you how this 80-20 principle works. All right. This 80-20 principle talks about you mastering or trying to understand the 20% of every concept that brings about the knowledge and the understanding of the remaining 80%. Simple. Let me explain this again. I want you to get it. This is what it means. It means that in everything you want to learn, there is just a little 20% that you need to know. Once you can master that 20%, every other thing will unlock. Every other thing will become easier for you to understand. Okay, let me use this illustration. It's just like maybe you have a thread and the thread gets coiled all around. How do you solve it? How do you sort it out? Yes. So the 20% of the work in solving that particular problem is for you to be able to identify the head, the tip of that thread. I tell you, that's it. So that's the 20% of the work. Once you identify it, the remaining is just to bring it out from this direction, bring it out from this direction, and before you know it, the work becomes easier. So every concept you want to learn, there is just a 20%, which means the most important thing you need to get. Once you get this, I tell you, every other thing will work well. How did this work for me? Okay, I know some of you want to hear that. Okay, this works for me. I use what I called association. This is still under the 80-20 rule though. Now, when you are learning things that are abstract, things that you cannot connect, things that are not in real life, you have not experienced, it becomes uninteresting. So what do? I use association. I just try to pick some interesting part of it, some few areas that are very important, the part of 20%, and associate it to a daily life. And this helps me master it very well. Let me give an example. Let's talk about electrolysis, for example, in chemistry and physics. You know the principle of electrolysis, right? Yes. You have an electrolyte, that is a liquid substance that conducts electricity. By the time you close your key, you close the circuit, what happens? There is flow of current from cathode to anode and through the electrolyte. There is a deposition of some elements on particular electrodes. Now, we already know that this works based on the basic principle of electrostatics. That is, like charges attract, unlike charges repel. Let me tell you, if you know this law alone, many things will uncover. And this is what helped me master all this concept of, um, uh, 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 all this concept of bonding, all this concept of electronic configuration, all this concept of valency, how to know a metal, how to know a known metal, how to know noble gases, and a lot of them. So it means why some people are struggling with bonding, they are struggling with characteristics of metals, they are struggling with periodicity, they are struggling with the whole principle lies in understanding the law of like charges attract, like charges repel, and understanding what the negative and the positive sign means in chemistry when you come to valency. As simple as that. So this becomes the 20% of it. Let's say you are studying English. In English, now you are given a book, the Lekki Headmaster, where you are the one you are expected to study. Do you know that there is 20% of that book? There is a principle about that book that you are supposed to understand. Out of which, if you are able to understand, every other thing will become more easier and clearer for you to get. So this is the 80-20 rule. Try and understand what's the key principle that I need to understand in this topic, so that it will help me understand every other thing in this topic. Once you are able to figure that and understand it, you are good to go. That's just it. For example, I have been hammering on something recently to my students. If you are coming across this video for the first time, sorry, I have students that have been training, coaching in JAMB, and we are preparing together. I'm preparing them because I want them to have high score. So in fact, this video is basically for them. It's not for everybody, but if you are coming across it, thank God and you are welcome. And if you want to be part of us, just let me know. Just type interested in I'm interested, then I will see how I can also bring you on board to join us. So yeah, I've been hammering about changing the subject of formula, because any calculation you are likely to apply this. Every calculation that has a formula, you are likely to apply this. So I've been hammering on, you need to master this. You need to master. So even if you know how to use a formula, if you cannot change from one subject of formula to another, it becomes difficult. So part of the 20% you need to understand in that is how to change the subject of formula. I hope you are getting it. All right, so we quickly go to the, what do we call it, the third one that I want to talk about today, and that is getting yourself engaged when learning. If you get yourself engaged when learning, it becomes very easier for you to learn. And what is this? You write when you learn. You write when you learn. Now, studies has revealed that students that write when they are learning have higher chances of remembering what they have learned after 30 days than those that don't apply this principle. So these people that have carried out this research, they have observed students that write when they are reading, when they are studying, they have high chances of remembering what they have learned. And you know why? When you are engaging your hand in writing, there is what we call in learning, in psychochemistry. I actually did this course during this my MSc, quite all right. Yeah, I remembered we took a course on neurochemistry, and we were trying to understand how neurons, you know a neuron now, right? Yes, a cell of the central nervous system, cells, brain cells. Let me use that word to make it get you understand very easily. So we try to understand how cells interact, the cells of the brain, especially during learning. So when you are learning, the dendrites, oh, I don't want to go deep into that so that I will not. All right, so the neural connections increases as you learn. So students that use their hand to write have the high chances of having their parts of learning in the brain become more activated and more ready and more useful than students that does not apply this. So anytime you are learning, write. In fact, this is my best way. Any book I want to study, I'm always with my own writing book also to note. Anything that is not clear, I'll try to write it out. I will check my dictionary later if it is a word. If it is not a word, I will go online, try to search for that particular thing so that I will get it. So this is very helpful. So always don't do a passive study. Be engaged also. also engage yourself. As you are writing it, I once shared an experience with you when I was in 100 level. I was writing a mathematics course that before the exams, I thought I have mastered that topic because it's something that was very easy, very simple for me. I proved it again and again. But when I was preparing for my exams, I just felt as if, this one I already know it. Only for me to get to the exam hall and saw a question on that topic, mathematical induction. I proved the first step, second step, third step, for where that's how I left that question. What was the reason? Because I didn't engage myself in writing. If I had done that, it would have been easier for me to remember. So this rule has proven to be very, very effective when it comes to learning. Engage yourself. Lastly, for today, there are still 4 or 5. I cannot do all of them in this video. We meet in the next video, probably tomorrow. Just check to see. Okay. The next one has to do with your environment. Yeah. Do you know the reason why in the house we have a room for sleeping, a room for cooking, a room for bathing, a room for resting, and so on? Do you know the reason? The reason is because so that each of the work can be done excellently. Imagine you are cooking inside bedroom. How will it look? Well, some people might do that, but then that's not the best practice. There are many reasons, there are many things that can happen. If you are cooking in your bedroom, you are likely not to cook very well, and you are likely not to sleep very well because you are now trying to mix up the two places of two different functions in the same place. That's why any standard industry you visit, you find out that work is segmented. This section is for this section is for this section is for that. Why? Because your environment has a way of wiring your psychology, wiring your thinking. Some persons read on their bed. Where you sleep, you are reading. You are already attracting sleep. That place is not meant for reading. So, even if in your house you don't have a specific place for reading, set a corner somewhere. In fact, if it is only your room, dedicate a section, a portion of that your room for study. Anytime you get to that place, you know what will happen? If you continue doing that consistently, once you step your leg on that place, your brain will prepare itself for learning because that's the environment you used to learn. That's it. Okay, if you are a Christian or a Muslim, once you step into the church or mosque, what comes to your mind? Prayer. Can you see? Because that place has been designated for that purpose. So your environment has a way of affecting you. So if you want to learn fast or master things fast, look at your environment. How is your environment like? Optimize your environment. Dedicate a space for study. It doesn't have to be that you must have a different room for reading. If your house you cannot have that, just have a corner, even if it is in your room. If need be, get a table and a chair so that once you get on that position, you know that already it's time for learning. Oh, there are many rules that can help you. There are many principles that can help you. If you can leverage this principle and apply them, I tell you, there is nothing. I do tell my students, I say, see, there is no course in the world I cannot study. And they will be laughing. They'll say, do you think so? I say, yes. And it's true. So there is nothing that you cannot do. All you need to do is to have the right information and implement it. You see, this implementation, very important. To my student, I've observed that some of you, if I give assignment, if I give this, I give deadlines, I say, some of you, you don't even care. You don't even care. But a good number of you are responding. You see? So all these things, if you cannot implement a simple principle, it will be very difficult for you to be able to work. It will be very difficult for you to be able to achieve some goals in life. So I'll stop at this point in time. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you have understood anything from this video, I need your feedback. I want to know whether the content I post is helpful to you, because if it's not helpful, what's the point wasting my time? Some of you don't even know the time of the day that I'm that I'm recording this video, but I guess some of you can predict because you are seeing some part dark, some part there is light. You see? So I'm staying all awake to make sure that I bring this content. I want to know if it is helpful so that I will know whether to continue or not. So, uh, give me your feedback on that. And please, let's share what has been working for you when it comes to study. Have you been using any of these rules I shared? If yes, yeah, tell me which one. Remember, I shared four, right? Yes, the first one, Feynman's technique. The second one, 80-20 rule. The third one, engaging yourself or writing. And the last one, I talked about your environment. Now, the remaining four, I will talk about them in another video. So, tell us the one that has been working for you in the comment section. If you have been applying any of this, I mentioned the one you have been applying, because some of you might have been applying any of this and it might not just have come to light, but maybe you have been doing it. So let me know the one you have been using. If you have not been using any other one, tell me what technique has been working for you that you have been using consistently anytime you want to learn. Thank you once again. Subscribe before you go. Like, let me know that I'm actually doing something that is helping you. Thank you so much, and